I am ready. Good morning. I'm Betty Harris, and I am here to as a practitioner and a minister for this Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. And I would like to invite you to join us this morning for a meditation. Some truth seekers want the benefits of spiritual practice without having to give up their habitual negative mental states or their misguided behaviors. They want to be self realized while self centered and cling to false concepts and opinions about God because of sentiment, superstition, or lack of insight. Clarified states of awareness cannot be experienced when the mind is confused, erroneous ideas are dominant, and behavioral conditions are allowed to be influenced by problems causing subconscious conditions or whims. Progress on a spiritual path, whether slow, faster, or rapid, is determined by attentiveness to right behaviors and grace. Mild endeavor allows modest results. Endeavor that is more intentional allows quicker results. Endeavors conformed to complete commitment to the spiritual path allow rapid progress. God helps those who help themselves is an axiom, a self evident factual statement. God is not a human like being, observing and waiting to see if we will help ourselves before grace will be allowed to flow. Impulses of grace are always present and are influential when and where they can be expressive. In religious thought, grace is considered as good fortune or assistance that is freely given. Attempts to invoke the impulses of grace are successful to the extent that our actions and change in mental attitude or state of consciousness enable us to be receptive to them. Often, after we have done our best to help ourselves, an attitude of total surrender results in flows of grace that do for us what we could not do. A devotee asked his teacher, I pray for God's grace and for your grace. The teacher replied, God's grace you have. My grace, or goodwill, is unwavering. All that is needed now is your own grace, goodwill toward yourself, and responsiveness to all available blessings. And so I invite you to take a deep breath and to let it go. And another. And now simply to relax, knowing that you are here, you are blessed, you are wanted. take a couple of deep breaths and to bring your attention back into the room, knowing that we are ready for the service, which will start in approximately 15 minutes. Thank you.
Shining as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me, one light shining as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out, I'm so happy, I just want to shout. One life living as you and me, one light shining as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me, one light shining as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out, I'm so happy, I just want to shout. One life living as you and me, one light shining as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me, one light shining as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. Oh yeah, come on. All right. One light shining as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me, one light shining as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out, I'm so happy, I just want to shout. One life living as you and me, one light shining as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me, one light shining as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out, I'm so happy, I just want to shout. One life living as you and me, one light shining as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me, one light shining as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. Oh yeah, come on. All right. Yeah. Oh yeah. One life living as you and me, one light shining as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me, one light shining as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out, I'm so happy, I just just wanna shout. One life living is you and me. One light shining is you and me. One love loving is you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One life living is you and me. One light shining is you and me. One love loving is you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out. I'm so happy. I just wanna shout. One life living is you and me. One light shining is you and me. One love loving is you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One life living is you and me. One light shining is you and me. One love loving is you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. Oh yeah. Come on. All right. Yeah. Oh yeah. One life living is you and me. One light shining is you and me. One love loving is you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One life living is you and me. One light shining is you and me. One love loving is you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out. I'm so happy. I just wanna shout. One life living is you and me. One light shining is you and me. One love loving is you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One life living is you and me. One light shining is you and me. One love loving is you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out. I'm so happy. I just wanna shout. One life living is you and me. One light shining is you and me.
really important in our lives to have community. And so we're very glad that you have joined us to create community, whether you're here or whether you're out there. We know that you're there and we're very glad of it. So for those of you who may not know me, my name is Dusty Rippelmeyer, and I have the privilege and the honor of being this community's senior minister. We are part of a larger organization called Centers for Spiritual Living. And at Centers for Spiritual Living, we believe that there is one power and presence that is back of everything that there is, seen and unseen. This presence is benevolent, always present, everywhere at all times, in its fullness and in its wholeness. We were created in its image and likeness, so that because it is creative, we too are creative. And in fact, we have been creating the experiences of our lives, all of our lives, whether we knew it or not, whether we did it consciously or unconsciously. And for me, that's the really good news, because if I don't like the experience that I'm having, then I have the ability to change that. Change your thinking, change your life is more than just a bumper sticker. It is actually a spiritual principle, and we are here and come together to support each other as we walk this spiritual path, to remind each other who we are at our very core, and to hold each other and know that truth when we are struggling to do so, as often happens as we are part of this journey on earth. So we're really glad that you've come today, and just thank you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being here. So we have a flower dedication today. So these absolutely beautiful flowers are dedicated to Eileen Proctor. When Eileen walked through our doors and decided that this was her spiritual home, she has thrown herself into our services, our classes, our social activities, and behind the scene activities, giving of her time, talent, and treasure. Our center has benefited from her energy, exuberance, and expertise. Today, we recognize her as the primary force behind last week's Holiday Bazaar. While we acknowledge all of the people who contributed to this event, whether by having a table, helping to advertise and promote the event, setting up and breaking it down, or by supporting the vendors and the center by making purchases, we recognize that the bazaar would not have happened without Eileen. It was her vision. Yeah, sure. More. Clap and clap and clap. It was her vision, commitment, persuasive personality, and her faith during the times when we didn't know if it would happen that led to the bazaar becoming such a positive experience for so many. She spent many hours of work leading up to the event, actively advertising the event on social media, managed the logistics and details, supported the vendors, and encouraged the sale of raffle tickets and silent auction bids. Eileen made the bazaar a fun, forwarding, and financially successful event. We thank you, we love you, and we are so grateful that you are a member of the TCSL community. Thank you very much. So I would also like to just give shout outs to a few of the volunteers that really did really on that day make the event really amazing. Larry Shockey, John and Diane Carnes, Martin Ludwell, Casey Callanan, and Heather Abbott. A shout goes out and our great gratitude to the 22 vendors that displayed and sold their amazing crafts, wares, and artwork. To Rebecca Fouts for her week vacation in Kitty Hawk that she donated, and Vincent Jenna, and Vincent Jenna for his 1-hour psychic medium session that they donated to a silent auction for their generous donations. And I will tell you that the all together, everything all together, we raised for the center $2,151. So thank you all so very much. Besides just having a really good time. So thank you all to everyone. Speaking of gratitude, my gratitude goes out to Reverend Betty Harris for her beautiful meditation that expanded the container that our service will unfold within. Thank you so very much, Betty. And speaking of Betty, let's welcome her back up to the pulpit.
Thank you. Okay, let us begin. The theme for the year 2023 is Living Out Loud. Our theme for the month of November is the mundane, the sacred, and the profane. Oh my. Oh my. And today's message is the mundane and the profane. That sounds like, hmm. let's, let's, okay. I am now going to read the community's purpose statement. This is our reason for being here. Our purpose is to inspire, educate, and empower individuals to experience themselves as unique and individualized expressions of God, the love intelligence that governs the universe. We are committed to not merely a theoretical understanding of our oneness and unity with God, but to consciously practice this truth in our everyday lives. Through celebration, service, study, and fellowship, we are committed to the transformation of our personal lives and to being a powerful and beneficial presence on the planet. With the energy of unconditional love, simply, we are here for God. Now, I invite you to please turn within, open your heart and mind, and allow the healing sounds of the crystal bowls to simply wash over you.
So take one last centering breath and return to your body, return to your consciousness. Open your eyes because you don't want to miss this next part. I'm going to ask my volunteers, Eileen and Diane, to come up to assist me with our blessings of all faiths. Thank you, ladies. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living honors the diversity and threads of truth that run through all spiritual paths as represented by this ceremony. Christianity is the path of Christ consciousness, love, and forgiveness. Buddhism is the path of compassion and understanding. Judaism is the ethical path of living by sacred law. Baha'i is the path of unity and peace. Islam is the path of submission to the will of God, the highest calling. Confucianism is the path of deliberate tradition. Taoism is the natural way, the path of ultimate reality. Native American practice and shamanic traditions are the paths of primal spirituality. Shintoism is the path of tribal ancestry. Hinduism is the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Science of mind and spirit is the path of the divine principle of love and law. And the heart represents the one heart, the one love that resides at the center of all people and all beings everywhere, with no exceptions. May peace prevail on earth through the followers of all paths. And so it is. Thank you all so much. All right. And from that space of connection and unity, I ask you to close your eyes as I say a word of blessing on today's divine service. So, going within, I feel those gossamer threads of God stuff that connects me to all that is, to every person, every animal, every tree, every rock, every star, every atom. It's all the same stuff. It is all of us, and we are all of it. And how magnificent that is when we take the time to really connect to that fact that it's all good because it's all God. And there is no us and them. We are all one. So beautiful. So beautiful. So from that space, I know this morning is going to be a rocking service. And I say a word of blessing and a word of gratitude for the people who are going to make that so. So I say a word of gratitude and blessing for the volunteers who came early to set up the space and to do all the behind the scene things, and will stay late to put it all away again. I say a word of blessing on the fabulous team of Heather and Martin, who are doing their techno magic so that this service can reach anyone on the entire planet. I say a word of blessing on Reverend Betty, who set things off by creating a sacred space of this place, of this celebration, of this event. I say a word of blessing on the multi-talented Cindy Johnson, who always fills our hearts with her beautiful singing and piano playing. I say a word of blessing on our beloved Reverend Dusty, who I know today is a hollow bone, channeling that love and that wisdom and that power and that abundance and joy that is the essence of God, and thus the essence of every one of us. And I say a word of blessing on everyone who is participating in this service, because it is your energy, it is your heart, it is your thoughts, it is your part in this gossamer network that also makes today such a special, special day. So, knowing this is the truth, knowing that this connection, this wisdom, this love will have us all being different an hour from now, and that difference will permeate throughout all of society. So I'm excited, and I just turn this over to the one who always says yes with our words, and so it is. Okay, the reading for today is from Joel Goldsmith, and he says, once we have reached or touched the inner kingdom, we are no longer living unto ourselves, not even living unto our families exclusively, but we are participating more actively in the affairs of the world and in those things that make for a happier, more successful, and more peaceful way of life. The kingdom of God does not deal with something separate and apart from living. The kingdom of God concerns itself with our daily life. And so it is. So before we get to hear Dusty's words of wisdom on this topic, we get to allow Cindy Johnson to make our hearts stretch that much more so that we have more area to absorb the wisdom that is to come. Thank you so much, Cindy, for being here with us.
Thank you. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion to. Imagine all the people living life in peace, with skies of blue, clouds of white, bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by.
I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. Oh, a brotherhood of man. I hear babies crying. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think it could be such a wonderful world. Imagine just
Thank you. A mashup of two incredibly amazing songs in their own right, put together and sung beautifully. We're so appreciative of you and all that you do for our community. Thank you very much. Let's give her another round. So this month's theme is about really recognizing the sacred that is present in all of life, including those moments that we really experience as boring or monotonous. The things that we do day after day after day, perhaps ad nauseum, like housework or professional tasks or sitting in traffic or walking the dog or mowing the lawn or shoveling the snow or paying the bills or even going to the gym. This month's theme is about recognizing the sacred in all of life, including those moments that really make us uncomfortable, that we experience as unacceptable or harmful or unspiritual. Now, these things might include people or their behavior or particular places or even physical items. Types of profane human behaviors might include disrespectful or irreverent thoughts or opinions or actions expressed against particular religions or particular cultures or particular races. It can also include the vile and blasphemous language. This month's theme is about recognizing the divinity in all of it, both the sacred, both the profane and the mundane, right? And if you've been around here for any length of time, you would know that the science of mind views all aspects of life as interconnected, that they are all part of one whole. The first Sunday of the month, we looked at the sacred. And this Sunday, we're taking a deeper dive into the mundane and into the profane. Petra Weldis, in an article in the Science of Mind magazine for this month called See the Sacred Everywhere, says, when we perceive the sacred in the ordinary moments, we experience a deeper sense of meaning and connection in our lives. So, how can we do this? So one of the ways in which we can perceive the sacred in the mundane is by paying attention to all of the beauty that is present in the world. So just, think about sunrises and sunsets, or all of the colors of the fall, or the waves lapping up to the shoreline, or the geese flying in formation, or lightning during a thunderstorm, or perhaps the birth of a baby. All of these are actually pretty regular occurrences. And yet, the awe-inspiring nature of them is quite profound. Another way is to recognize that as humans, we learn to categorize. We learn to assess or to judge or to compare. As we look out at all of the daily activities and the chores that we partake of in our lives, we determine what is important. And we do so based on our assumptions, on our judgments, or on our comparisons. On one hand, this is a very important function of our brain. But on another hand, what if we're wrong? What if we're wrong about what we say about all of these activities? Perhaps we would begin to see the mundane in a whole new way if we were to reframe our thoughts and our ideas about those things that we deem as unimportant. Those things that we deem as ordinary, those things that we deem as mundane, affirming that they are actually gateways to seeing the divine. Brother Lawrence, who wrote The Practice of the Presence of God, received many of his insights while he was washing the dishes, while he was cooking, and while he was making sandals. Recognizing God's omnipresence, Brother Lawrence would literally begin each and every single task that he undertook with a short prayer to God, asking for guidance in whatever task that he was about to begin. Now, I myself received some of my most significant insight in the shower. Now, I don't really understand it all. I don't really know why it is that happens. Perhaps it's the water that's, coming down on my head and pouring over my body. Or perhaps it's metaphorically that I'm standing on the other side of the curtain, the other side of the veil, where the wisdom is really all around me and I'm more apt to catch it. Or perhaps it's that stillness, that quietness that occurs when I close the bathroom door. Now, I don't know why. I don't know what it is or why that happens, but this very mundane task opens me up to seeing and hearing and experiencing the divine in such a really wonderful and amazing way. And so I don't question it, I just say yes. Yes. Alan Morinis, in his book Everyday Holiness, says, when you choose to see the glory that lies within even the obvious and mundane, then that fly on the window, or a simple cloud in the sky, or the hand in your hand is as much an invitation to all as the Grand Canyon or the pyramids. Another way of really experiencing the sacred in the mundane is to understand that we have also been conditioned to believe that our lives should be about really big and world-saving activities. That they should be really all about really high impact moments of excitement. We are addicted to stimulation and to experiences, one right after the other. So we race about all day within this very busy day that we're having, within our very busy lives that are often chaotic. And then we fall into bed at night for some restless sleeping. Now, because of this, our thoughts are often in the past or often in the future and not here in this perfect moment, really experiencing what it is that's happening right here and right now. Perhaps we could experience the mundane in a whole new way if we would stop waiting for something exciting to happen and be really fully present to whatever is happening. Once the Trappist monk Thomas Merton met a Zen novice who had just finished completing his first year of living in a monastery. Merton asked the novice what he had learned during his course of his novitiate, half thinking that he would hear about encounters with enlightenment, or perhaps discoveries of the spirit, or perhaps even altered states of consciousness. But the novice replied that during his first year of the contemplative life, he had simply learned to open and close doors. Learning to open and close doors taught the novice the quiet discipline of not acting impetuously, taught the novice not to run around slamming doors, not to hurry from one place to another over and over and over again. Now, this was where the novice had to begin in order to really progress, in order to really evolve, in order to really learn that all he had to learn on his spiritual path. That was where he had to begin. And more often than not, that's the same with us. We have to unlearn some of the things we've learned, unlearn some of the busyness, and to simply be present to the present moment. Another way to experience the sacred within the mundane is to find and to celebrate the mystery of everyday life. Just think about how amazing it is when something unexpected happens. Something unexpected happens that really kind of changes the course or the experience of our entire day, or that perhaps some coincidence happens in which we're given everything we needed, and some things we didn't even know that we needed. Now, most of you know me as being more of a cat person than a dog person. But there was a period of time in my life when my partner and I were living in St. Paul, Minnesota. We lived on Summit Avenue, which was a big double, two lanes going this way and two lanes going that way, and it had a big boulevard coming up the middle of it with some beautiful grass, and there was big homes that were set far back with big, beautiful green lawns that came up to it, and the Summit Avenue goes all the way from the river, which divides Minneapolis and St. Paul, and comes all the way up to St. Paul downtown. Now, we lived closer to St. Paul than we did to the river. But on this one particular day, I was awoken by our dog, Eliza, who was a beautiful Afghan hound. It was morning, and of course, she needed to get up and go out and go to the bathroom. Now, typically, this would not have been my daily activity to do, but my partner was not feeling very well, and so the chore fell on me. Now, it was early in the year, and while there was really very little snow on the ground at the time, it was still very cold. And so, as you can imagine, the activity felt not only mundane to me, but actually bordered on the profane, because why would anybody want to do this activity at all? But I got up out of bed, and I put on a big, heavy winter coat and some boots, and I started to make my way towards the front of our house, grabbing Eliza's leash along the way. As I walked into our front room, which had these beautiful bay windows across the front, I noticed that out there on the lawn, there were 4 incredibly beautiful, majestic deer. This moment, during a very mundane activity, was magical. This moment, during a very mundane activity, afforded me an unexpected opportunity to witness a moment of awe. It was a moment that clearly I have not forgotten, that clearly I will never forget throughout my entire life, a moment that I can still feel that feeling by just even thinking about it. And it happened in a very mundane, bordering on profane activity. At the same time, we need to realize that all of those daily activities and chores that we take part in are not less than worship. They are not less than magic. They are not less than sacred. They are not less than ecstatic experiences. Mundane activities are necessary. And one of the reasons that they're ordinary and commonplace is because they are so necessary. They are things that we need to do. They are things that we end up doing all of the time. The bottom line, however, is that doesn't make them less valuable. There is value and worth in doing them. One could say that they're not sacred. One could say that they're not special. One could say that they're just simply ordinary. and but we do them because they're necessary. So perhaps the key to really appreciating those mundane activities is to try not to make them into something that they are not, but to recognize the value of what they are. Robert Brault says, enjoy the little things, for one day you may look back and realize that they were the big things. There's a story that speaks to this. Apparently, a Buddhist monk was once asked, what comes after enlightenment? The Buddhist monk answers, before enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. To believe that enlightenment transforms us to a space and place where those so-called mundane tasks are no longer necessary is a fantasy. Perhaps enlightenment comes when we are able to really look at all of those mundane activities, not through the eyes of duty and obligation, but with a certain sense of joy. For the sake of the importance of the tasks themselves. When we are able to climb out of the categorization of things as mundane, then we can truly see everything as spiritual, everything as sacred, and know that we are literally serving something that is bigger than we are. Earlier, I shared a reading by Petra Weldes, who said, when we perceive the sacred in the ordinary moments, we experience a deeper sense of meaning and connection in our lives. She goes on to say, and when we begin to perceive spirit behind the person who is acting out in a profane way, this becomes an opportunity for personal growth and spiritual practice. So what does it mean to be profane? Sometimes it's as simple as defying the norm, such as believing in unconditioned or unconventional ideas about God or about families or about gender identity or about life itself, while at other times it is something as unthinkable as the inhumane way that some humans treat other humans and other sentient beings. In truth, the concept of profanity really is different from culture to culture. A thumbs up is a positive sign in an American culture, but it is pretty much the same as giving somebody a finger in Middle Eastern culture. In Japan, tipping for services is considered insulting. Sexuality is taboo in some cultures, but it's embraced in others. Some believe that marijuana is profane, a harmful gateway drug, while others believe that it is a medicinal plant that serves as a healthier alternative to some prescription medication. Some people believe that a curse word is in defiance of God, while other people believe that a curse word is a defiant form of self-expression. I love what Robert Ingersoll, a 19th century American lawyer and writer, has to say about this. He says, I am not much given to profanity, but when I am aggravated and vexed in spirit, I declare to you that it comes as such a relief to me, such a solace to my troubled soul, and brings me such heavenly peace to every now and then allow a word or a phrase to escape my lips, which can serve me no other earthly purpose other than to render emphatic my otherwise mildly expressed ideas. I love it. You know, sometimes it's just the only thing you can say. Seeing the sacred in the profane might be a bit more difficult than finding it within mundane. But it always, I mean always, presents us with an opportunity for growth or an opportunity for spiritual practice. When we encounter something that we deem to be profane, we can either choose to react to it with fear and with anger, or we can choose to see it as an opportunity for learning about ourselves and about others. We can choose to practice being and bringing light and truth to every single situation that we are in, while also reflecting on why the reaction driven by fear or shame or anger or ignorance has come up for us. Perhaps it's an opportunity to discern whether or not there's actually something wrong going on, or whether it's just our judgment or our unconscious bias that is telling us that something is wrong. Perhaps it's an opportunity to be able to see the behavior as unacceptable while still being able to see the divinity and the wholeness within the individual themselves. Perhaps it's an opportunity to notice that our experience of the situation as something that is profane is actually reflecting back to us our own unhealed or shadowed side. Growth and spiritual practice. Science of Mind invites us to really see ourselves and others as perfect, regardless of our cultural biases or how others may perceive us. It invites us to explore our own understanding of what we identify as profane, to truly discover and express our authentic nature. When we express ourselves authentically and live our lives out loud, then we actually invite and allow others to be able to do the same. When we include not only our own voice, but also the voices of people from all walks of life into our lives, we are taking a crucial and critical step towards creating a world that works for everyone. This week, we're really being invited to color outside of the lines of what we consider to be spiritual. When we shake off our old ideas about what constitutes spirituality, we can make room for the profane to really reflect the sacred. If we're truly creating a world that works for everyone, it's important for each of us individually and collectively as our spiritual communities to be inclusive of all people from all walks of life. We are being inspired to step out of our comfort zones and invite people into our hearts that have different ways of thinking. Different ways of thinking about spirituality, about what is sacred and what is not sacred, what is mundane or not mundane, what is profane and not profane. This week, the invitation is to set a reminder for ourselves, maybe a little alarm on our watches or our phones, to practice coming to our center, to really coming back home to our center in the midst of our busyness, and just being with whatever it is that we're doing. It might be standing in line at a store, or sitting in traffic, or taking out the garbage, or some other mundane task. The invitation is to flip our thinking in that moment and to say, this is the most important, the most sacred moment that has happened or will happen to me today. To allow ourselves to think about it as that. That right here and right now, I am experiencing the most sacred experience that I could experience, the most sacred moment. To know that whatever is happening, that God is present, and then choosing to notice it. Choosing to notice God in the middle of that. This week, the invitation is to explore our own understanding of the profane, to reframe our cultural perspectives of profanity, and to apply what we've learned within our own spiritual communities, within our own spiritual teachings. That oneness, that wholeness, that acceptance, that allowing. To truly know that the presence of the divine is everywhere at all times, with no exceptions. With no exceptions, and to be able to see it and feel it and experience it right where we are. I finish with another quote by Petra Weldes, who says, "When we can see the sacred in the mundane and the profane, we experience a deeper sense of gratitude for it all. We find ourselves experiencing the connection between all life and all creation. We sense that spirit is always present and available no matter what we are doing. There's a powerful realization that leads to a profound sense of peace and well-being, as well as a more compassionate way of living. Next time you find yourself in the midst of the ordinary, look for the sacred. And when you find yourself confronted with the profane, take a moment to pause and reflect. Look for, and you will find, the beauty, the mystery, or the opportunity for deeper awareness in every moment. And so it is. So it is. And so I invite everyone to turn within for a moment. Take in a nice deep breath. Allow ourselves to return to that center of our being, so beautifully created earlier, spoken about, prayed about by Carol. To know that there is just one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. That life is the life of each and every single one of us here, each and every single person out in the internet land, each and every sentient being on the planet. We are all connected by that golden thread of God's stuff that weaves itself throughout all of life. And it's from that place of deep and abiding connectedness that I speak these words about and for each of us this morning. Truly knowing that we are spiritual beings having a human incarnation, and that as we walk our spiritual path, we experience things that we might deem as profane, things that we might deem as mundane. And yet, what we know, what I know, is that God is everywhere at all times. And so God is right there in that moment of mundaneness, in that moment of profanity. Those things that we find boring, those things that we find unacceptable, that behind them, like the sun behind the clouds, is the presence of the divine. And that all we have to do is to remember that. All we have to do is to look for it, to look for that presence, be willing to step outside of our comfort zones and to allow ourselves to see with our spiritual eyes, hear with our spiritual ears, feel with the consciousness that has been deepened. So in this moment, I claim ease and grace for us around being in the moment, about experiencing the beauty in the mundane, the sacredness in the mundane, the mystical and magical in the mundane. And to experience the expansion that can happen as we allow ourselves to be willing to reframe or to look at or to uncover or to discover or to really take a deep dive into what is actually happening in this moment that we call profane. To see what others are thinking. Where are they coming from? How can we learn? How can we come together in a way that benefits each and every single one of us, in a way that really allows us to move towards a world that works for everyone, without making anyone wrong, without having the need to be right, but simply wanting everyone to win. Everyone to be held, everyone to be seen, everyone to be heard, everyone to be known, and to feel the presence of the divine in all of it. For that truly shifts everything into a moment of love, a moment of peace, and a moment of joy. I'm so grateful to know this truth and to speak these words. So grateful for the power of prayer, knowing that these words are loosed into a law that only ever says yes, that my words are clothed in form even as they are spoken. And so I speak them and I release them into that law, letting go and letting God be God. And I invite each of us to anchor this prayer for ourselves, for each other, for our community, and for the world, simply by saying, and so it is, and so it is. Amen. Thank you all so very much. It is now time for a conscious giving. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living is sustained by the giving of our time, talent, and treasure. And this is the time each week when we offer our financial support to assist this community to continue to be a beacon of light and warmth and love in the Greater Triangle area. Together, we affirm the truth that this offering lifts this spiritual community, prospers the one giving, and adds to the energy of sufficiency on the planet. There are several ways that you can give, and they're here on your screen. Visit our website at www.trianglecsl.org. You can text the word give using the following number, 919-230-8445. Or you can actually mail your gift to our office at P.O. Box 4062, Cary, North Carolina, 27519. I now invite everyone to place your hand on your heart with your gift or with an affirmation for yourself or for our community or the world, and repeat our offering affirmation in a call and response. I live in an abundant universe that blesses and prospers my life. I give with gratitude, knowing that God is my source. And so it is. So it is. Thank you all so very much for your generosity. And now please be generous as we welcome the beautiful, the talented, the amazing Cindy Johnson back to her piano.
Do I have a mic? There we go. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones who will make a difference. We are the ones who can change the world. We are the ones, we are, we are. We are the ones, we are, we are. I've been feeling like I can make a difference. I've been feeling like there ain't no use. Feeling tired and a little unconscious, coming up with every kind of excuse till I realize it's not all up to me. When we join together, we shape our destiny to build a world where we can live all in one. It will be, it can be, it will be done. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. I am the one who will make a difference. I am the one who will change the world. I am the one. I am the one. I am. No one else gonna make the changes. No one savior gonna drop from the sky. Nothing else left to do but wake up. 'Cause it's really up to you and I to take it one step at a time. Stand together with your hand in mine, and we will see a world that we've been dreaming about. We need it now. The time is now, there is no doubt. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones who will make a difference. We are the ones who will change the world. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones.
Oh, well, truer words were never spoken. You are the one, Cindy. Thank you so much for your contributions. Okay, so I want you all out there to give us practitioners and ministers a special challenge this week of the opportunity to pray for the profanities. So the way you do that is you go to our website, trianglecsl.org, and there is a button on the homepage. Press the button, fill up your profane things for us to pray for. Then it comes into our inboxes, and that will be a great thing to be doing this week. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, this is our special celebration of giving thanks. And I'm sure you all have people in your lives that you would love to thank in a special public way. And so we have the flower dedication. So go ahead and you can contact Heather at, let's see, info at trianglecsl.org or Reverend Dusty and let them know who you would like to let the world know how much they mean to you. All right. So today is the last day to sign up for the class Roots. The class starts on Tuesday. And so this is your last opportunity to hop onto that Roots train. It's leaving the station Tuesday night. And it's a really powerful, deep, philosophical, spiritual course. So you just get to spend 2 months reading and reflecting and discussing, the things that are the real foundation of our whole philosophy, including people like Thomas Troward, Emma Curtis Hopkins, and Ralph Waldo Emerson. It is a CSL certified class and it is required for practitioner training. You must have already completed Foundations of the Science of the Mind, and the tuition is a mere $245, and payment plans are available. All right. So I know that Thanksgiving is a special holiday to all of us, but a great way to set it off on the right note is by joining our special Wednesday night evening service. It's going to be entitled Gratitude, a moment of message, meditation, and giving thanks. It will be at 7 o'clock on Zoom, and the link will be on our weekly newsletter or on our website at trianglecsl.org. All right, now it is time for our November affirmations. So everybody stand up. And we will do this as a call and response. And just remember, it's your intention that makes it so. So as I rise up out of my conditioning, I open myself up to the adventure of finding the sacred in everything. As I rise up out of my conditioning, I open myself up to the adventure of finding the sacred in everything. I release assessments, judging, and labeling, and simply experience life. I release assessments, judging, and labeling, and simply experience life. Letting loose the idea that the sacred is something separate, I begin to see the entire experience of life as sacred, including the mundane and the profane. Letting loose the idea that the sacred is something separate, I begin to see the entire experience of life as sacred, including the mundane and the profane. When I am able to move past the surface of things, I realize the sacred is found in all things because it is all things. When I am able to move past the surface of things, I realize the sacred is found in all things because it is all things. I know that oneness is right here, right now, and I choose to notice it. I know that oneness is right here, right now, and I choose to notice it. Being with the sacredness of what is, I am simply grateful for all of it. Being with the sacredness of what is, I am simply grateful for all of it. Everything is holy, just the way it is, including me. Everything is holy, just the way it is, including me. And so it is. All right. So, close your eyes one last time. Oh man, my cup overflows right now. I'm just feeling so much gratitude. So much gratitude for the wake-up call that everything is spirit. Every moment, every everything is spirit. So I know from today's service that I'm not sleepwalking through life anymore. I see God here, I see God there, I see God everywhere. And what a beautiful way to spend the week of Thanksgiving. Seeing God in it all, the big and the small, the grand and the profane. And I know that is my truth. And I know that we are all connected, so I know it is the truth of everyone who participated in today's service. I know that next week will be a joy-filled week as we find spirit in every moment. And that will not only transform our lives, it will not only uplift our community, but it will move the planet that much closer to our vision of a world that works for everyone. So, knowing that this is what is to transpire without a doubt in my mind, I just turn it over to God's magnificent law that makes it so, and ask you to declare this with me, and so it is.
And so it is.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all so very much for your presence here today, whether you're here in the sanctuary or at home. We appreciate it greatly. Have very, very happy Thanksgiving to all y'all. I love you. Have a great week.